Hi all! Today I would like to talk a little bit about responsibility in chess. And by that I mean that sometimes you really need to dig deep in order to find the position sequence. Okay, I would like to talk about the subject in showing you a fragment that I played yesterday. It was from a game against Ernst Jos in a league competition we played with Baren against Bilthoven. I was white and we had just survived the time trouble and were rewarded with an extra 15 minutes. And as you can see, I have a very strong passed A pawn. Now I took a bit time to find out what is the best move and decided to play Queen B7. I had calculated that after Queen B7, A takes B7, Rook B6, Rook A7, I'm winning this position, and it has to do with the fact that I'm threatening a check along the 7th rank. This means that the black king has to move. If he moves to, let's say, E8, then I will check him on A8 and promote on B8 next move. And if he goes to F6, then I have the funny H4, completely caging in the white king on F6. It cannot go forward, and it can also not really go backward, because then again I have this discovered check on the 7th rank. So this means that black can only move his rook down the B file, but then I have a very simple winning plan in just bring my king up and supporting my passed pawn. Okay, so after Queen B7 check, my opponent played the best defense, Rook C7. And now I miss an opportunity to decide the game in a matter of a few moves. I could have played the very strong Rook B1. Of course, if now black takes on B8, then I will recapture with the rook, regain the queen, and next move promote my pawn. So, in order to avoid a check on the 7th rank, the best defense would be something like King E8, but then I can maneuver my pieces around, like this, and start an attack on the 8th rank. Now black can take my pawn, but he has another problem, and that is the safety of his king. Black has only got a few checks left, and now to stave off the mate, he has to take the rook on the F8 square, and then of course the position is winning for white. However, I didn't see this idea of Rook B1 after Rook C7, and I decided to play a classical endgame and exchanged queens on A7. Now my pawn is behind my free A pawn, and I can either go to, let's say, the queen side with my king, or the king side with my king, and create a double chance, so to say, and win the game. Okay, so my next move was quite obvious, and I played King F2. Now my opponent played King G7. Of course he saw my king coming, and this is the moment where I should have taken some time in order to figure out what was really going on. Should I go to the queen side, or should I go to the king side? Well, in effect it doesn't really matter, because both methods win, but I didn't see why they would win and for what reasons. And it usually pays off to invest some time and to try and figure out all the attacking plans and of course the possible defenses, and if there are any possible defenses, what can you do in this case with white to try and surpass them. So now I played King G3, but it was, I don't know, I hadn't really seen everything that would happen, and a little later we will see what happens if the king goes around to the queen side. So now we have this fight of the kings, but of course it should be able for me to enter the position. However, I played Rook H5 here, Rook A5, where I could have played King G5, but I saw a ghost coming at me, and that was the move Rook A8. And if I now were to play the horrible H4, which would be a logical idea, just to try and create a breakthrough on the queen side, then all of a sudden I would have blundered away the game by means of Rook H8. And now, mate on H5 is simply unavoidable. So I saw this idea with the mating threat on h5, and after king g7 I thought, oops, let's not go to g5, but let's move the rook around a little bit. I'm not really in a hurry. Of course, I could have played king g5, because rook a8 is not dangerous if you see the following idea, rook b1. Now, of course, black can take my free pawn, but I can check now on the 7th and really enter the position with my king. So then the game could have finished as follows. And after this next series of moves, it becomes apparent that white is quite easily winning this position. Something like this. So my idea of going to the king side with my king was correct. However, I didn't see the right follow-up. And then after rook a5 and playing around a little bit, I decided, okay, if it doesn't work because of the idea of rook h5 mate in the end, well, then let's just simply try the other idea and bring my king around to the queen side. However, in doing so, I had lost a lot of time of bringing my king to the king side. And it is exactly this time that the black king is using to come into the heart of my position. And now, to my horror, I found out that there is really no way of bringing my king around to the queen side, because as soon as I pass the c3 square, there will be no more defense of the e3 square, and black will start eating my pawns, and the game will be very much in the doubt. Okay, so there were a few other moves, but in the end we decided to make it a draw. Of course, I was very disappointed with this result, because I simply screwed up a winning position. And the thing is that even a few moves earlier, I could have tried to turn around the tables. It is just that I went too far away with my king from the king side. Because in this position, where I played king d2, I could have also tried king f2. And then, for instance, king h3, king g1, king h4, and then king g2, trying to get back to my king g5 plan, and then follow it up with bringing my rook to the b file and chasing the black king, etc., etc. So, in retrospect, there were several moments where I simply thought too lightheartedly about the whole position. I thought, okay, I can win on the king side. Okay, I cannot win on the king side, then let's just go back to the queen side. And then I thought, oops, but now I have simply lost too much time. And before even realizing the fact that I couldn't go around the c3 square, I also passed up on the chance of trying to get back on the king side. So, even though it was not logical to invest 5 or maybe 10 minutes from my last 15, it probably would have paid off in this case, because if I had known what I was doing exactly, trying to figure out all the attacks and the defensive plans, I probably could have played the endgame a lot quicker. Now, there's one final line that I owe you guys. After king g7, what would have happened if I go to the queen side immediately? Now it becomes apparent that my king is in the center much quicker, and that the black king is not yet in the heart of my position. So this also would have led to a very simple win. Now I just chased the black rook, and of course it has to sacrifice itself for my free pawn. And even though it looks as if black has a few chances with his free pawn, white is a rook up, and he also has a free h-pawn. And last but not least, the king can go back to the center, and this also would have been a simple winning position. And of course, I suppose it would have been the most logical to plan. You know, just go to the king side, the queen side with the king, and harass the black rook. So, I hope you've enjoyed this analysis. Please leave your comments, and see you again next time on YouTube.